Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the 20th anniversary gala dinner of the National Italian American Foundation, Senator Pete Natl.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Can you kind of get quiet for a minute? We're going to hear from the President shortly. Ms. Clinton, Mr. President, all of those on the dais, and all of you wonderful Americans, Italian Americans, let me say thank you for the most successful Italian American Foundation program in the history of our organization. I want to thank all of you who came from all parts of America to join us tonight in our major heritage celebration, and to all of the businesses across this land that participated in making this not only the most attended event, but the most profitable event in the history of our foundation. We all join in saying thank you to American business who helped us tonight. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored and so proud to serve as your chairman of this Italian American Foundation Anniversary Gala. I'm so pleased that we have the opportunity to celebrate 20 years of service and leadership from the Italian American Foundation. The almost 3,000 attendees at this dinner tonight from all across America can attest to the enormous strength and wonderful capability of this organization. Let us say thanks to all of you, all 3,000 of you who are here tonight. Tonight we all celebrate our shared heritage and our shared values. Values which include helping others, hard work, the importance of community and family. The National Italian American Foundation cares and carries on as its tradition through its many works of Italian American community and what it does for all of America. This foundation, its scholarships to youth of our country, its promotion of qualified Italian Americans for appointment to federal, state, and local governments, and its anti-defamation campaigns are just a few examples of the National Foundation's effectiveness. Mr. President, we compliment you. Here tonight on the dais are two of your people in very high positions who are of Italian American heritage and extraction. Everybody knows Leon Panetta. We thank you for appointing him, Mr. President. And maybe not so many of you know that Laura DeAndrea is the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors to the President. Where is she? Please stand up. Thank you, Mr. President, for appointing her. This foundation also provides an effective voice for many who might otherwise feel outside our political and economic social structures. I would like to take this opportunity right here at the beginning of our program to commend and thank a number of individuals without whom this organization and this evening would not be a success. First, the chairman of the NIAF, Frank Stella. Frank, thank you so much for all you do. Where are you, Frank? Frank, stand up. Thank you, Frank. My distinguished dinner co-chairs from around this country, Lee Rizzuto. Lee, thank you very much. John Solomon. Salome, where's John? John, thank you very much. And Jerry Jones, who have all worked so hard. Where's Jerry? That's an interesting name, but he's also, Jerry, where are you? Thank you, Jerry. You must have some relationship and some part of our heritage, even though you have a very strange name. But I'm positive that I'm joined by everyone in this room when I extend my gratitude for a job well done to all of those on the staff of the foundation. And if they would just stand while we say thank you to all of you who make this a success. Thank you very much. And now, might I say to all of you Americans, Italian Americans, and those who are our guests, who happen to be Americans but not Italian Americans, we're all part of one great family. It's my pleasure to recognize tonight 7 individuals who we're honoring here. They're a wonderful sample and a cross-section of success of Italian Americans in all walks of life. Think of this spectrum that we have here tonight. Cardinal Anthony Bevilacqua, who is receiving an award for his humanitarian services. Cardinal, we're glad to have you and we love you. Susanna Angeli, the Italian foreign minister. Where is she? Stand up, please. Now, Tony Bennett. John Travolta. Frank Biondi. And Rosemarie Bravo. So that we don't miss any sphere of success in America, we also are recognizing tonight Joe Montana for his contribution to sports history. Think of it, fellow Italian Americans, think of it. From a cardinal to a quarterback. Italian Americans succeed at every level, in every phase of American life. So the reality of the achievements of the Italian Americans and our foundation are evident everywhere here tonight. And I'm so proud to share my heritage and your heritage with our friendship toward everyone around us who might not be of our heritage, because we're very pleased to be part of that great tradition and that great tapestry that makes America what it is. Thanks to all of you. Let us have a magnificent event. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the National Anti-American Foundation, Frank Correa.
Thank you and good evening. Let me, as President NIAF, express my profound gratitude to all of you for the outstanding support you have given to the foundation. And I want to thank you, Senator Pete Domenici, for the great job that you did this year as our chairman. And thanks to all of you that we are holding the most successful dinner ever held in our previous 20 years. We have wonderful news to announce tonight. I have a very generous gift that was just given to us yesterday by Ed and Jill DiLoretto of California, giving us $100,000, which we acknowledge and appreciate. And then today, a second major gift came from a longtime friend of NIAF, the former American ambassador to Italy, Peter Secchia, and his lovely wife, Joan, who has given us $500,000. We have a new beautiful home with $1 million mortgage on it. And Mr. President, we're going to retire that mortgage this year through the generosity of all of you. Thank you. By next year, we will burn that mortgage by our dinner. That's our promise. I'd like to take a moment and ask the board members and the regional vice presidents, state coordinators, if they will just stand. And please give them a warm applause to thank them for all the work that they have done to make NIAF the success that it is. Will you please stand? Thank you. Mr. President, we welcome you and our First Lady Hillary to the largest gala of Italian Americans that has been held anywhere at any time in the world. This is, I think, the greatest gala that has ever been held. And we value tradition, and that tradition continues tonight. Once again, you grace our dinner with your presence. It is an enduring symbol of the respect that you have given us over the past 4 years that you've been here each and every year. Tonight, you have just arrived from Iowa, and tomorrow you will be in New York to lead our nation in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. We are grateful for your always being able to place us in your very busy schedule, Mr. President. We know from your past performance that you care about us Italian Americans, you care about NIAF, and we greatly appreciate it. And we salute you for the leadership which has made our economy stronger, our streets safer, and our environment healthier. You have worked hard to make our government work better for all our people. And Mr. President, we and the nation were greatly inspired by your call for us to end racism in our nation and promote unity through greater personal responsibility. It was a message that all Americans should heed, and we thank you for that also. We commend you for your extraordinary international leadership. You have fought for world peace and a promotion of democracy everywhere, from Bosnia to Belfast, from the Middle East to Eastern Europe, from North Korea to South Africa. And we laud your commitment to causes for people here at home. To name a few: full immunization for infants, the campaign to end teenage smoking, fighting crime and violence perpetrated by handguns, your determination to protect Medicare and Medicaid for the elderly and the handicapped, these are some of the important issues of our day and continue to be your vision of our future. As you have stated, not all your positions are the most popular, yet you have been a driving force striving for a just America. You have defined your presidency by taking hard stances, positive positions, and the American people have responded to your steadfastness. On the occasion of this, our 20th anniversary dinner, we thank you for being a true friend to NIAF, and especially for enriching our celebration, for being with us here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and my privilege indeed to present to you the President of the United States, President Bill Clinton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Frank Guarini, for that wonderful introduction. To Chairman Frank Stella, Vice Chairman Art Gallarza, Senator Domenici, who always does a good job at these dinners. I must say I was delighted this was not one of those annual roasts, because otherwise I would have been the object of his wonderful humor. I am delighted to be here with you and with all the members of Congress tonight. To the Most Reverend Cacciavillan, the ambassador from the Holy See, the Italian ambassador, Ambassador Biancheri, to the Foreign Minister of Italy, Foreign Minister Agnelli, I'm delighted to see you here tonight. And I want to say a special word of thanks on behalf of the United States to our ambassador to Italy, Reginald Bartholomew, for what a fine job he has done. To all the board members and friends of the foundation, some of whom, hundreds indeed of whom, have come here tonight from Italy, I am deeply honored to be with you tonight for the fourth time in a row on the occasion of your 20th dinner. And I would like to say one thing to the Italians here present, beginning with the Foreign Minister. Last year, I came to this dinner direct from a trip to the Middle East and the signing of the peace treaty between Israel and Jordan. In the last year, in many ways, the world has moved closer to peace in Northern Ireland and Haiti, another signal event on the road to peace in the Middle East. And by the grace of God, we will continue the road to peace beginning on October the 31st, when the leaders of all the countries involved in the conflict in Bosnia meet in the United States in Ohio. If we are able to make a peace and enforce it, I want all my fellow Americans to know that it would not have been possible but for the strong and firm leadership and involvement of Italy, and I am very grateful for what they have done to bring about peace in Bosnia. I know a lot of your honorees. Last Monday I was in Los Angeles with Tony Bennett, who was the headliner for a wonderful concert put together as a benefit for the Center for Alcohol and Substance Abuse at Columbia University. Just a couple of days ago, Joe Montana and his lovely wife and their 4 wonderful children and some of their friends came to the White House, and as their children were examining, I think that's the appropriate word, examining everything in the Oval Office, I thought to myself, now there are real family values. And since I have to say, since this event is held in Washington, D.C., and given all that's going on here in Washington, I think it's quite appropriate that you're honoring on the same night Joe Montana and John Travolta, because what's going on here reminds me of a cross between a pro football game and Pulp Fiction half the time. Earlier this month, I was with Cardinal Bevilacqua when I had the great honor to welcome His Holiness Pope John Paul II to Newark, New Jersey. It was our 3rd meeting since I've been president. I don't want to commit heresy here, and I'm not a Roman Catholic, but there are some important parallels between the Holy Father's career and mine. He came from Poland to the Vatican. I came from Arkansas to the White House. We were both outsiders who got jobs that usually go to insiders. And sometime in 1993 or early 94 or so, I saw the obvious that he seemed to be doing better than I was. And I searched for the reasons why, and I realized it was because he had named an Italian chief of staff. And by blind coincidence, about 30 minutes after that light dawned in my brain, Leon Panetta walked in for a meeting, and that's how he got the job. I want to thank all the Italian Americans who are active in this administration, the Ambassador, Mr. Panetta, Laura D'Andrea Tyson, Pat Griffin, the head of our congressional liaison, the director of the FBI, Louis Freeh, Bob Blancato, the executive director of our Conference on Aging. And one person I want to mention especially tonight who doesn't get mentioned enough, Marilyn DiGiacobi, who did such a wonderful job of coordinating for us during the Pope's visit, and tonight and so many other times. These people have done a lot to help our administration move our country forward and do the things that Frank Guarini was kind enough to mention. I want to thank this organization for the support that you have given to us in our common efforts to move this country forward. I love to come to this dinner for a lot of reasons. There are always a lot of laughs. There are always a lot of distinguished people here. I always learn a lot. But most importantly, I think it's important that the President acknowledge that Italian Americans have given us a model, all of us, for valuing our families, caring for our communities, celebrating our unique cultures while respecting those of others. Italian Americans have given a great deal to our nation, and they've shown us the importance of preserving and creating opportunity for generations to come. It's these values that I believe should guide all Americans without regard to party or position. I honestly believe the best days of this country lie before us. I believe there is no country in the world better positioned for the 21st century than we are. As we move from the Cold War to the global, thank you. I'm glad you believe that. But we have to realize we're going through a period of more profound change in the way we work and live and relate to the rest of the world than perhaps than any time in 100 years. And we have to be visionary about the future while holding fast to the values that got us where we are and make life worth living. We are moving our economy forward. We're trying to address our most serious problems at home. We're trying to change the government in a way that befits the 21st century. You might be interested to know that your federal government now has 163,000 fewer people working for it than it did the day I was inaugurated. And that I didn't know it until Laura Tyson told me last week, but she went back and checked. As a percentage of the civilian workforce, the federal government is the smallest it has been since 1933. So the era of big government is a big myth in that sense. We too have to become more productive. We too know we have to do more with less. But we also have to, together, continue to honor our basic values and pursue our common interests. We have to give our kids a better future. We have to give Americans a chance to make the most of their own lives and hold their families together. We have to recognize that, as the governor of Florida said the other day, we are, in fact, a community, not a crowd. He said a crowd is a group of people that occupy the same piece of land but have no obligations to each other, so they just elbow one another until the strongest get ahead and the others fall behind. A community is a group of people that recognize that they will go forward or fall back together, that they have obligations to one another, and that they become better and fuller and richer by fulfilling those obligations. You might be interested to know, and you might find it difficult to believe, but there is moving in America, in this big country that moves ever so slowly, a new spirit of community and family and personal responsibility. In almost every state, the crime rate is down. In our nation, the welfare rolls are down, the food stamp rolls are down, the poverty rate is down, and the teen pregnancy rate is down now for 2 years in a row. Our country is beginning to move together and move forward. What I want to say to you tonight is that I believe these decisions we are now making in Washington about the budget are not really about the budget. They must be about our basic values and what we imagine America should look like in the 21st century. And because we are changing so rapidly, frankly, no one can predict anyway what will be popular a month or 6 months or a year from now. We all have to try to imagine what we want America to look like 10 or 20 or 30 years from now. My friend Cardinal Bernardine once said, "Families give life, and giving life means more than procreation. It means education and nurturing children to the full status as sons and daughters of God and citizens of their country and their world." The United Nations calls the family the smallest democracy at the heart of society. Where will new generations learn about democracy's rights and responsibilities if not at home? That is the question that we have to answer. What will the home of America be? What will our communities be? What will our families be? And I urge you, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, whether you live here or all the way across the country, whatever you do for a living, as we debate these great issues, imagine what you want America to look like for your children and your grandchildren. It's changing so fast, you can't predict how it's going to look in a month or 6 months in a year. That is the context in which I hope this debate over the budget will play itself out. We all want a strong economy. We all want a strong America. To do it, we have to have strong individuals, strong families, and strong communities. I believe that the budget debate is not about balancing the budget. Everybody's for that. I couldn't believe what had happened to the debt when I came here, and we've taken the deficit from $290 billion a year down to $160 billion in just 3 years. I am proud of that. I think it's important, and it matters. And every one of you, no matter what your party or political philosophy, should want us to finish that job. We should not leave this crushing burden of debt on our children. We should not take money away that is needed in our private sector to create jobs and invest and grow America and make us stronger. Everybody should be for it. But how we do it is a function of what we imagine our common responsibilities to be. I believe we have to do it in a way that permits us to invest in education and invest in technology and invest in research so that we can grow the economy and grow strong individuals. I believe we have to do it in a way that permits us to preserve the fundamental health care system that enables us to honor our responsibilities to our parents, to the disabled, to poor children. I believe a sense of fairness that Americans always have, a certain compass that always guides us. And if we will hew to that and do what is commonsensical and consistent with our basic values, we will be fine. I have done my best and will continue to do my best to move beyond traditional partisan politics at this very untraditional time, to work with the United States Congress to achieve a balanced budget in which all Americans can win. But I have to say, and I want you to know, I do not believe any major American company on the verge of the 21st century would cut its investment in education or research or technology, and I don't think we should either. I do not believe any family would willingly say that its poorest elderly members should be forced to pay for health care they cannot afford, or its most vulnerable children should be put at risk of losing that health care, and I don't think we should either. I do not believe we should hamper our common responsibilities to protect the environment of the United States or to work with other nations to secure the environment of the planet. And I do not believe anybody would knowingly do that, and I don't think we should either. I hope very much that we will see a coming together in this process. Everybody knows that the President under our Constitution has a veto and has to be prepared to use it. Everybody knows what the rules are in Congress. They are going to do what they're going to do, and if I have to use my veto pen, well, I'll do that. But in the end, what we need to do is to come together to build a stronger America. Good for our children, good for our families, good for our communities. You know, the lesson, I will just say this, and I want you to reflect on it. The ultimate lesson of what I saw in the faces of the thousands and thousands and thousands of African American men who came here last week to march was people in a total spirit of reconciliation and personal atonement saying, yes, I do intend to take more responsibility for myself, for my family, and for my community. But I would like it very much if I do that. But the other message was, I would like it very much if I do that, if you would reach out and join hands with me and help us solve our common problems and move our country forward together. That's why I said at the University of Texas, something that I think Italian Americans, especially who came here at a time when immigrants from Italy and Ireland were discriminated against, can identify with this. We still have too many people in America passing each other like ships in the night. I saw the other day in an old book I had by Will Rogers, he said, for example, he said the Congress is someplace where somebody gets up and talks real loud, no one listens, and then everybody says they disagree. Well, that's not just in Congress, and it's not just there. That happens in America, and it happens among people of different racial and ethnic groups. And so I leave you with this challenge. I think we need, each of us as Americans, not only to value our own ethnic solidarity and our shared values, but to share them with other people. We need to find somebody who's different from us and tell them what we really think for a change, even if it hurts. And then we need to have the discipline to listen to what they say. And we need to work slowly to bridge these gaps in the way we view reality that have become so present and prevalent in our country. I am telling you, if you look at the facts, this country is better positioned for the 21st century than any country on earth. Why? Because we're the most ethnically diverse, with the most flexible economy, with all these resources that God has given us and that our forebears have developed. We are well positioned. We have to learn how to use to make our diversity as an asset instead of letting it tear us apart. We have to relish in our diversity. You're happy to be Italian here, but you're also proud to be Americans. We want everybody in America to feel that way, and we want everybody to feel that way about other groups as well. And we know if we do that, we'll be all right. So I say to you, I want you to think about this. Every time a decision is called upon to be made in this nation's capital or in your community, ask yourself, what's it going to look like in 20 years? What kind of America do I want my grandchildren to grow up in? Will we give people the right and the ability to make the most of their own lives? Will we help families become stronger? Will we be more of a community and less of a crowd? If the answer is yes, that's what we ought to do. And if we do it, you will be very proud of the America you leave to your children and your grandchildren, worthy of your Italian American heritage. Thank you, and God bless you all.
something first. You want to let you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful conversation with the President. I was deeply moved, and I hope you were, and I hope all of us listened to what he said. Meanwhile, I would like to introduce to you Chairman of our foundation, a man who's been here from the very inception, the very birth of this enterprise, and I present him to you with great pride, Mr. Frank Stella.
Thank you very much, Jack Valenti. Mr. President, Mrs. Clinton, I'd like to just stop for a moment now because I remember being at your graduation exercise where you gave the valedictory address at Wellesley. My daughter-in-law was one of your classmates, and let me tell you, she received a thunderous applause, and it was a great speech, and I remember that. I think it was only about 10 years ago, wasn't it? Your Eminence, Cardinal Bevilacqua, Apostolic Delegate Archbishop Cacciavillan, Dinner Chairman Senator Domenici, Jack Valenti, our perennial Master of Ceremony, does a great job and also chairs the Awards Committee. That's why we have this caliber of awardees here. Distinguished honorees, dais guests, fellow board members, and friends of the Foundation all gathered here tonight. I bid you welcome on behalf of the Board of Directors. I express our deepest gratitude for joining us and for supporting us for over 20 years. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight marks the 20th anniversary of the birth of the National Italian-American Foundation. We have a wonderful program with the most accomplished groups of honorees in our history. Our history is spelled out in the program book, and I invite you to read that history with special attention to the young men and women who are the recipients of our Foundation's scholarships. Please note and take joy with us in the fact that we are now in our own building, as Frank Guarini mentioned, in our scholarship program, cultural and business conferences, in the fact that we are working with the premier organization in this nation on issues of importance to all of us. Our beautiful headquarters belongs to our Italian-American community of the United States. So please drop in and use it whenever there's a need. That history could not be possible without the support of all of those in this room tonight. And it would not have happened without the support and creative leadership of some who are not here tonight. I propose a silent toast this evening to our first board presidents, Monsignor Gino Baroni and Ambassador John Volpe, both sadly deceased. To other early leaders, Gino Paolucci and Congressman Frank Annunzio and others. And I extend my thanks to present board members such as Frank Guarini, Arthur Gallarza, Joe Maselli, Ken Changwali, and along with that, the regional vice presidents who have been doing a great job, and I say to you, thank you. We note, it's been said with special satisfaction, that President Bill Clinton is with us this evening for the 4th year in a row that you have joined our dinner. Indeed, we're grateful to you for this. Last year, Mr. President, and you mentioned you came to us the day you returned from that exhausting trip to the Middle East, and a madman had just shot up the White House. This evening, you have just returned from Iowa and will leave shortly for a demanding meeting with the United Nations on the occasion of the 50th anniversary. I hope, Mr. President, that you view the Foundation dinner as a welcome respite from your demanding schedule. Let me also say, Mr. President, a word of congratulations for your courageous and forthright speech on race relations in the United States which you gave last Monday. You said things that needed to be said. You have helped in the vital process of bringing our nation together, and you deserve the gratitude of all Americans, Democrats and Republicans alike. Let me also welcome this evening the 400-plus visitors from Italy, led by our distinguished recipient of this year's Italy-U.S. Friendship Award, Minister Susanna Agnelli. Joining Minister Agnelli are Gianfranco Fini, the President of the National Alliance Party, and some 24 members of the Italian government, as well as the great number of business, educational, and social leaders. Please, great round of applause to them for taking their time to be with us. Finally, I give a word of sadness. This because of the departure next week of the man I consider to have been the very best ambassador the Republic of Italy has ever had in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, to Ambassador Boris and Mrs. Bianchieri, I propose a toast. Hear, hear. You have both been wonderful representatives of Italy to the United States, and we will deeply miss you. Let me also express this evening, I know Frank Marini did, a deep appreciation to our dinner chairman, Senator Peter Domenici. I remember the day when I called him and I asked him to take on the chairmanship. He immediately said yes. And he was a hands-on type of a person. That's the reason why we have set a record this evening. He wanted to know what was going on, wanted to make sure that everything was going to be right, and said make sure that Lee Rizzuto takes on the chairman of that journal committee and this committee, and also the food that we've had, all because of Lee. We did all of that. And it goes without saying that Fred Rotondaro, our executive director, and John Solomon, it was mentioned before, and his committee, assisted by Jerry Jones, Ruth Roderick, Gil Becker, Donna DeSanctis, and Dr. Maria Lombardo, and to all of the countless volunteers who helped this year make this the success that it is. You did a yeoman job, and I want to thank you for that. And so I close with a simple note of appreciation to all of you with us this evening. You have helped the foundation grow strong, and we in turn have used our strength to help Americans of Italian heritage, particularly the young people. Jeremiah of the Old Testament said, quote, "Seek the welfare of the city where I sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf. For in its welfare you will find welfare." This old prophet was thinking of our community and telling us to look after each other. This we will do. To all of you, the countless others who have made the foundation strong, from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President and the First Lady are now going to have to leave. He's on his way to New York, where celebrating the 50th anniversary of the United Nations, and he has to be there. And we are grateful to you, Mrs. Clinton, and to you, Mr. President, for taking this time to be with us. Thank you very much.